Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a permanent repair to your pool skimmer using these and using this stuff right here. So let's get into it. Okay, so the skimmer that we have here in the pool, this thing has got to be well north of 30 years old. There's quite a few cracks in it. Now, I've tried patching this over the years using products like JB Water Weld, Pool Putty, marine grade silicone, those sorts of things. Now, don't get me wrong, they work, but it's temporary at best. I find usually that after a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two at most, I start seeing the water level in my pool dropping, okay? So I came across a product called Schmear, and these pellets that are sold by Hayward, okay? Essentially what they are is they're ABS pellets that get mixed with this product here called MEK. That's methyl ethyl ketone, okay? When you mix those resin pellets with the MEK together, it basically makes liquid ABS, the same material that skimmer is made out of, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we go about safely mixing up a batch of this stuff and then being able to go ahead and patch the skimmer here. All right, so first things first, guys, I'm just going to give you a look inside of my skimmer so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so hopefully the GoPro picks this up, but you can see I've got a pretty nasty crack in here right about there. Okay, I've got another one on the side here that's not quite as bad, but then I also have another one on this side as well. So there's definitely a couple of cracks in the skimmer that we're dealing with here. Okay. So first things first, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prep the surface, okay? So you want to try to get the skimmer as nice and as clean as you can, okay? Once you've got it clean, then you're going to go ahead and sand down any of those, where any of those cracks are. What you're doing by sanding it is you're trying to create a better surface for adhesion to take place, okay? So once it's been sanded, I've already done a good chunk of the prep work. Once you've sanded it, this is where our friend the shop vac comes in. So again, just to show you guys what I'm talking about here, in terms of some of the equipment that you're going to need here, I've got the gloves. Now, I've seen videos online where guys apply this stuff and they use gloves like this, just nitrile gloves. For handling MEK, that's not going to cut it. Okay, you need a more substantial glove, like a butyl or a baton-based glove here. Okay, if you look at the safety data sheet for MEK, it'll give you some really good advice on what you're supposed to use. A lot of times people just talk about the fact that, well, it's flammable, so don't smoke around it, but it's pretty nasty stuff. You should be using a respirator in these situations here. All right, so then you can see here I've got some sanding discs. I've got a jar to be able to mix the MEK and pellets, and then I also have got a stir stick, and I also have a putty knife to apply this stuff with here. All right, so first things first, again, like I was saying, we'll kind of turn our attention back to the skimmer here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to show you what I mean by sanding off some of those spots. So for instance, let's see which one you guys can actually see here. If you take a look at one, let's say maybe this one right here, I would go ahead with my sandpaper and I'm just going to keep hitting that spot, okay? And you're going to see that you're going to get some coloration change here. Once you get to that point, you know you've went far enough, okay? So again, I'm just going to go and do a quick vacuum here, get this all cleaned up again. Okay, perfect. All right, so my big challenge was getting my hands on the actual pellets, okay? The Schmear pellets that Hayward sells, they charge you anywhere from about 50 to 75 bucks for, you know, a bag about that big, okay? And really, they're just ABS resin at the end of the day. Big challenge with us here too is if I'm trying to get my hands on this stuff, I'm looking at anywhere from a 3 to 5 week wait, and that's gonna cut right into my pool season here. I wanna get this thing open as soon as I can. So doing a little bit of research, these ABS pellets here, you know, they're airsoft pellets, but they are 100% ABS, and that's exactly what we need. So I'm gonna suit up here and I'm gonna start putting together a mixture of MEK and the ABS pellets. Now, what I've done is I've kind of just done the math on the recommended mixture that Hayward had listed on their site, and I'm just going to take those limits down a little bit here because I don't need a huge quantity of stuff. I'm going to make about a quarter batch. I'll put the mixture amounts up in the video here just so you guys have an idea of that. So first things first here, let me get my gear on. All right, so first things first, I want to go ahead, I'm going to don my respirator. Now I've already done my checks on my respirator. Okay, there we go, got my respirator on. Gonna go ahead and get my hand protection in place. Okay, perfect. So what I've done here, I've actually just put a quick measurement on the side of the jar just to help me get my measurements right. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add my MEK here. Okay, I'm going to call that about good. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my pellets here. Now when you add the pellets in, you can add more, you can add less. Same thing with the MEK. It all depends on the consistency that you want to have in the final product here. Do you want the finished material, the ABS that we're going to be putting into the skimmer, do you want it to be very runny, or do you want it to be more consistent like toothpaste? If you're making the mixture on for the bottom of the skimmer, you probably want it a little runnier. If you want it to adhere to the sides, you probably want to have it a little bit thicker. Okay, so now, again, I'm going to make sure I don't get any of this stuff on myself. All right, and now that we've got that in place, now comes the fun part. Now, in order for this stuff to break down, you have to constantly be stirring it, okay? Have fun. This is going to take a while. But you can start to see already, though, how that resin is turning here. You can see it's turning white. The pellets are starting to smear a bit. We just have to keep stirring this stuff up, okay? You're probably going to be stirring this for at least a good 10 to 15 minutes in some cases. All of the videos that I've seen on how to do this, they never show this part of the process here, okay? So again, just keep consistently stirring them, and to get things to that point where you need it, either, again, if the mixture is too thick, add a bit more MEK. If the mixture is too thin, add more ABS pellets, okay? So we're gonna just keep stirring these up here, okay? Okay, so now, through the miracles of movie magic, you guys can see where we're at here. You can see the consistency, right? Just like that. Okay, so that's about where I want to have this stuff for my application here. All right, so we'll clean this up. Okay, now one thing to note here, especially when it comes to having this stuff mixed up, if you have too much or you have leftover, as long as it's sealed in the jar, you're gonna be okay. This stuff will keep for quite a while, all right? So now, I've done my sanding in the skimmer. What I need to do now is I wanna prepare those surfaces in here, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a rag with MEK on it, and I'm gonna wipe those surfaces, and that's gonna act as a bit of a primer. It's going to soften up the ABS material and give me a good base to have this mixture adhere to. All right, so go ahead and take some MEK on a rag. I'm going to wipe down those surfaces. And you can see that when I'm doing this, there is definitely a color change that's taking place in here. So that's good. That means the stuff is reacting well. I'm going to try to get the hard one, which is all the way down here.
And again, you want to try to get this as clean as you possibly can. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start trying to apply that MEK. And again, I just want to give this stuff a good stir. Oh yeah, perfect. We're ready to go here. Now I'm going to try to bring some of it up to the collar here. All right, I'm going to try to get some of this onto my knife here. All right, now I'm going to start working with it here. So, hopefully you guys can see this here. I'm going to take some of it here like this. I'm going to apply that with the putty knife, like so. Again, might be a little tough for us to see here, but I can see already I've got that crack primarily covered here, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want to be doing here. All right, now I've got another crack on the opposite side here. I'm going to try to get that one next. So again, I bring up some of the mixture like this. I just scoop it onto my putty knife. And now same thing, I'm going to try to apply that mixture onto the opposite side to try to get that crack. Again, I know it's difficult to see, it's right there though. Okay, so those are my two big cracks covered. And again, I know it's a little tough to see on the GoPro here, but I'm going to go after that big one in the bottom next. Now these ones in the bottom can be considerably more difficult to be able to get here, just because you can see all the different parts that are in there. And again, you want to make sure that you're not getting any of this mixture down the hole, because that is going to start to impact your plumbing as you get lower down. So again, you want to be somewhat liberal with this, but you also want to make sure you're not dropping any down the hole there. Okay, and hopefully you guys can see this here. But again, you can see that this is starting to adhere and starting to set up really nice, right? That big nasty crack in the bottom, now it's starting to get covered here. Okay, so again, I'm just going to do a little bit more and smooth that out, and then I'll try to give you a better look.
Whew. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's pretty much the entire repair completed. So again, this is a really nice alternative, because instead of having to spend a few $1,000s on getting the skimmer replaced, you know, even whether you do it yourself or you bring someone in, this is a much more reliable option. And again, I've heard stories of guys using this stuff, and that skimmer is just going to keep on ticking. Again, if you have leftover material, just seal up the container and you're going to be good to go. Folks, if this video was helpful and you like the content, please consider hitting that like or that thumbs up button and giving me a subscribe. Helps the channel out big time. This summer, we're looking to do a lot more kind of renovation and pool and maybe some hot tub videos here. So I hope you're looking forward to that content as well. All right, folks, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.